Hello, gorgeous woman. Welcome and thank you for joining me for the first masterclass of the 4 essential secrets to lush, liberated living. I feel honored that you're here and ready to dive into the divine inner work that it takes to shift your outer reality. Deep down, you know it's your time to let go of what no longer serves you and is holding you back from living a life that truly lights you up. It may seem like an insurmountable task and you're not sure where to begin. This 4-part masterclass series is a transformational experience that clearly breaks down the sacred steps that you will take to heal your heart, soothe your soul, and ignite your spirit. This powerful process I'll be sharing with you saved my sanity and shifted me from feeling despair that I was damaged and beyond repair to being proud of all that I am and feeling free to be the creatrix of my destiny. Together, we're going to embark on a journey of profound healing to clear out your past pains, self-sabotage, and toxic patterns so you can reframe your life on your own terms. But before we begin, I want to check in if you've already downloaded your healing journal, the grounding meditation, and your 4 mantras. You will also be able to download this masterclass series as an audio file, so you can come back and listen to these masterclasses anytime again in the future. I suggest you listen to the grounding meditation before each video masterclass or before you do the exercises in your healing journal. It'll only take you about 10 minutes. This will balance your central nervous system so that you feel relaxed, alert and receptive. The grounding meditation is also a fantastic tool to use anytime you feel stressed, scattered or overwhelmed. You can easily download it on your phone, ready to go. To get the most out of this magical masterclass series, I suggest that you watch each video to the end, listen to the accompanying mantras, and complete the exercises for each particular masterclass before moving on to the next one. It's important to be present, so be sure to create undisturbed sacred space for yourself. I encourage you to be both fierce on your mission and very gentle with yourself as well. And before I forget to mention it, grab a notepad and pen. Listen up, sister. We all have baggage, and it's an inevitable part of life. I do have to laugh when I hear men say, "I want a woman without baggage," because I have yet to meet a man who doesn't have any himself. Maybe you stash your baggage away, stuff it down, or go into complete denial, pretending it doesn't even exist. But the truth is, it's still lurking there in the deepest recesses of your unconscious mind, compounding over time, and it usually unexpectedly spews out when we're stressed, exhausted, or triggered in some way. I was masterful at keeping my baggage stashed safely away. I kept super busy, cramming my days and filling up my life, often to the point of massive burnout. I was trying so hard to get everything right and was so ashamed of the feelings that were brewing underneath the surface. Then I would desperately try to overcompensate and eliminate the evidence. I was a control freak and a painful perfectionist. I wanted to fix myself, change others, and resolve everything that wasn't working around me. I put on a pretty good show, pretending that my life was fantastic despite unresolved family rifts, health issues, financial stress, and relationship issues. Continually living in reaction, I became so split off from my true feelings, I didn't really know how to even relax and enjoy myself anymore. And after a final bout of adrenal burnout, frazzled emotions, and distressing flashbacks, I could no longer deny that I still had no baggage. I knew I had to face the biz of clearing the backlog of that old shiz, or it would continue to follow me wherever I went. And I knew it was time to release the toxic hold of the past, to release my heart, let go of limiting patterns, and completely rewire myself. I was done with people-pleasing, approval-seeking behavior. I was overbeating myself up about the past. I had enough of pushing myself beyond my limits in my business and in my personal life. I stood up and said, screw the old stories of not being enough, feeling rejected, undeserving, having to do it all alone, being a failure, unsafe to speak my truth, and scared to shine my light. Fast forward, I feel lighter, freer, and comfortable in who I am, and more at peace than ever before. I'm an agelessly empowered, lit up woman who believes in herself, who chooses love over fear, and now trusts that life supports me. I've healed family rifts, long-held heartaches, and old toxic ties. Now I empower women around the world to heal, reveal their freedom, find their voice, and recreate their lives. These amazing women continue to inspire me to learn, to grow, and to evolve. Anyway, after some deep, long soul searching, training and mentoring, I finally found what worked for me. And this is what I'm sharing with you in the 4 essential secrets to set yourself free. So let's face it, precious woman. You've got to clear the junk from your trunk to recreate your life of being fab at 50 and beyond. Let go of any worries that it's too late, you're too far gone, or you just haven't got what it takes. Believe me, if I can do it, so can you. I want to share a simple phrase that both deeply impacted and inspired me on my path to finding my freedom. Life doesn't happen to you, but through you. When we view our problems or issues from an ordinary perspective, we tell ourselves it's either bad luck, to do with someone or something else, a part of life, or we blame ourselves. We are conditioned to see life as a random act of happenings, to blame others, our circumstances, and to put ourselves down when things are not going according to plan. I'm going to say it again, just let it sink in for a moment. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. But what if everything that happens to us is coming from us? What if what we experience is actually created by us? We need to work on ourselves first and foremost, instead of waiting for others and everything around us to shift before we can move forward. That can take an eternity and maybe not even actually happen. We just can't deny dealing with our baggage, and it's time now for some spring cleaning. Clearing away the old clutter will allow us to create space for new things to come through us. I discovered that there's no shortcuts or escape routes. It's not a walk in the park. It takes radical responsibility and a commitment to freeing yourself first and foremost. And it takes courage to be honest with yourself and a willingness to do whatever it takes to release whatever is necessary so you can begin to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. We might argue, there's no flipping way I would create this situation. Are you crazy? It was not even on my radar. I've been working really hard at this for years. I've even been reading the self-help books, meditating, going to motivational meetings, saying my affirmations, etc., etc. And none of this shiz is really working. How can it be me? Anyway, what if there's a part of you that doesn't even know that a part of you is being controlled at a deeper level by your subconscious? Interesting, huh? Okay, that leads us to the first secret to set yourself free. You need to start nurturing the inner child who runs your life. Inside each one of us, there's an inner child living in our unconscious mind, and in most women, she's been ignored, silenced, suppressed, or shamed in some way, shape, or form. And unknown to us, she is the one who often calls the shots. In many others, she's been deeply wounded and abused. She is the child we once were, and she holds all our hurts, disappointments, traumas, anger, negative feelings, and sadness. And it doesn't matter how old or independent you are now, she is still a vulnerable little girl who craves to be seen and loved just as she is. We also have an internal parent living within us. However, this parent can often be very critical, correcting, scolding, and pointing out all her faults. It is becoming more and more clear to psychologists, therapists, and healers that our inner child has a huge influence over our lives without us even realizing what's going on. Our wounded inner child influences our choices and the way we respond to life's challenges. When we don't listen to her, she can create absolute havoc in our lives. Her old distorted perceptions of ourselves, others, and life can become the cause of much needless suffering. We find we can no longer trust our feelings. Do you ever question why you react in some situations? Do unfounded fears come up and overwhelm you? Do you wonder why you're critical and so hard on yourself? Do you feel negative emotions brewing under the surface? Have you ever questioned why you can't move forward in certain areas of your life? When we were children, we perceived the world very differently from our adult selves. And because of this, many of the things that we presently assume never hurt us as children may have actually left deep scars. When upsetting, traumatic, sad things happen to us as children, we don't just forget about it. They become suppressed and internalized within us, and at a later date will manifest as off days, illness, disease, anger, fears, or something else. And even though they've occurred far back in our past, they often influence how our perceptions are shaped and what we say to ourselves, our reaction to others, and how we create our life. As children, we were often led to believe that when something went wrong, we were to blame. We believed that if we were good enough, our parents or caregivers would love us and not punish us. Over time, we developed false beliefs that something was inherently wrong with us. I will give you a few examples of the common false beliefs women have about themselves. Notice any that strike a chord inside you. For example, I'm a failure, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, my needs don't count, there's something wrong with me, it's all my fault, I'm not beautiful, smart, or good enough, perhaps feeling that nobody's really there for me. And as we mature, we take these false beliefs with us, we internalize them and use them to define our very identity. We learn to habitually shame, blame, and reject these unacceptable parts of ourselves. Many of these beliefs that are based on past pains are reflected in our current life circumstances. You may wonder why, out of nowhere, you feel down in the dumps, sense an underlying anxiety or fears and phobias appear. Critical thoughts arise. You suffer eating disorders, you mistrust others, and though you want to feel close to others, you have a fear of intimacy. What happens to you when these old beliefs surface? Do you panic? Do you continually justify yourself, fear disapproval, judgment, or rejection? Do you disconnect or dumb out? Do you go into panic or overwhelm? Do you stuff down your feelings or distract yourself with a string of urgent to-dos? Or do you go into resignation and disappear? These are the critical survival strategies that we've learned from ignoring our wounded inner child. Are you afraid that you'll be rejected if you show your feelings? Do you cover up and pretend that you're cool when you're really seething inside? Do you go into submission and internalize your feelings? Or do you switch into a control freak, fake it, keeping up the appearances, acting like you really have your shiz together, when deep inside your little girl is having a flipping tantrum? These are responses brought on by your inner child because that part hasn't healed and it wants you to know. When we're reacting from false or distorted beliefs, we can no longer trust our feelings. They actually have little to do with our current situation, the challenges we're faced with, or the people who are triggering us at the moment. The most tragic part is that when we do this, we also stifle our precious, childlike, playful curiosity, our spontaneity, our creativity, our joy, and our contagious feminine spirit. I really resonate with Andy Rooney's quote, "I've learned that love, not time, heals old wounds." And loving your inner child will heal the hurts of your past. Your precious little girl wants you to listen and to help. She wants your love and your support. She wants to know that you're on her side and that you have her back. We are way more than the hurts that we've suffered. They do not define who we are. To become whole again, we need to accept every part of who we are. We need to open a healthy dialogue with our inner child. No matter how painful our early childhood was, loving our inner child now will help us to heal it. We need to take responsibility without shame or blame. We need to own our feelings without the victim game. We need to love, to accept, and to forgive every part of ourselves. You want to be the creatrix of a fabulously fulfilling life, right? There is no way in the world that you can live a fabulous, empowered life when your inner child is continually dictating you. It's not her job. She's simply meant to feel loved, heard, safe, and taken care of. She's meant to explore, to be creative, to play, and to have fun. It's critical to see that when we neglect to own these false identities, it's our wounded inner child who will begin to run the show. She influences how we make our choices, how we respond to challenges and live our lives. And when we don't listen to her, she can violently react and throw us totally off center. In my younger years, shame was my middle name. Victimhood and blame was my survival game. And like many women, I was trained to stuff down my feelings and disassociate with past traumas, accumulated hurts, and neglected needs. Although my life looked very different as an adult, I still seemed to attract similar relationship scenarios and situations that reinforced these underlying feelings. No matter how painful our early childhood was, loving our inner child now will help us to heal it. So put on your big girl panties and let's get started. Let's start to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's time to open up a healthy dialogue with our inner child. Now let's do today's exercise. Get out your journal if you've already printed it. Otherwise, just grab a pen and paper for the moment. Now just find a comfortable position and close your eyes if you're not driving. Breathe and center yourself. Allow yourself to go back in time and imagine yourself as a little girl. Whatever age comes up first is perfectly appropriate. See her in front of you. Notice what she's wearing. Is she wearing her favorite shoes? Maybe she's barefoot. Look around for a moment. Where is she? What is she doing? Is she alone, or is there somebody with her? Or are there a number of people around her? What's happening? Is anybody talking to her or about her? What are they saying? How is she feeling in this situation? Is she happy and playing, or scared and upset? Or maybe she's in trouble. How does she feel? Now just come back to your body, wiggle your fingers and toes and have a little stretch. And open your eyes. Picking up your journal or writing pad, begin to write a love letter to your inner child. Begin with the words, "Dear, most precious," and add your name, using the name that your family used for you. Then write the words, "I love you," and let her know how precious and adorable she is. Let her know that you love and accept her just the way she is. Assure her that she's safe and that you really care about her feelings. Beginning with the words, "I hear you," let her know that you are here to listen and she can tell you what she never dared to say to anyone. Let her know you won't judge her. Now, starting with the words, "You did not deserve this," let her know that she didn't deserve to be blamed or shamed, perhaps abandoned or abused in any way. And next, writing, "I'm sorry, I apologize for all the times I ignored you and didn't protect you." Ask for her forgiveness for criticizing you in any way and pressuring her to be different. Starting with the words now, "I forgive you." Let her know that she did nothing wrong. Let her know she's got nothing to be ashamed about and you do not blame her for anything that happened and that it was not her fault. And then finish with the words, "Thank you." Let her know how grateful you are for never giving up and all the ways that she tried to protect you. Now ask her permission to communicate her feelings and concerns with you. Ask her what she's needing from you right now or in the future. Let her know that she's safe and cared for and that you won't judge or criticize her. Let her know you don't want her to feel pressured in any way. If she doesn't feel ready to respond this time, don't worry. It may take time for her to open up to you. Under this video is a link to a soothing inner child mantra that you can listen to. It's only a couple of minutes long, and you can also download it to keep it on your smartphone. I'd love to hear from you and know how you're doing with this. So please reach out and post any challenges, breakthroughs, and aha moments in our Facebook group. I suggest that you print out your sacred healing journal if you haven't done so already, ready for tomorrow's powerful masterclass on profound forgiveness. So play your grounding meditation before we begin the next masterclass to help you drop into a deeper place of receptivity. Thank you for joining me today.